Hello everyone and welcome to the new episode of the Darktable. In this episode we will continue our journey to the world of the black and white photography. So let's get started. In this photo we have that nice idyllic scene with horses in foreground surrounded by the huge wall of the trees in background, and I would like to enhance that a little bit by cropping it to some kind of cinematic look, something like that. Then I will add a little bit exposure and go immediately to the color balance RGB to enhance color intensity and add some contrast so that we can see much better what is going on the scene. And now I would like to do two things. I would like to add some more soft contrast to the scene so that our main subject horses in foreground are popping up a little bit more. And the second thing is I would like to calm down a little bit those local contrast in background. I can do this with diffuse and sharpen module with one instance. If I go to the bloom preset so that we have that blurry picture, maybe even more iteration, add a little bit iteration and radius so that we have something like that. And now when I'm using multiply blend mode, enhance the brightness of that, I have that nice scene now. Maybe I will add a little bit exposure to that, something like that. Now our texture is a bit calmer, and we have a nice distinction between foreground and background. Okay, I think we are ready for conversion now, and we can use a next instance of the color calibration module, go above color balance RGB, and then I think I will use red channel for conversion. Yes, that looks good. And I think maybe a little bit blue, enhance a little bit blue and darken a little bit red, green, excuse me, something like that. And now I would like to brighten that main subject here, those horses in the meadow. So I will use exposure module, one more instance with drone mask. I will drone mask around horses there, something like that, and add a bit brightness to the scene, not too much. I think I need two instances for that. First is to go something like that. I will also enhance the feathering radius. So let's see before and after. Yeah, this looks better. And I will add one more just for those two horses in foreground. So let's go with adding that mask. Not too much. Okay, let's okay, I think that's enough. And now I would like to darken the background even more so that we have the clear focus on our main subject. So I will add a new instance of exposure module and also add a drone mask, something like that. I don't know how far. Oh, let's see, something like that. And we don't want to enhance the brightness there, but to darken the rest, so we need to toggle the polarity of the mask so that we have something like this, and enhance a feathering radius. And now we can darken the scene a little bit more. So let's see before and after. Yeah, it's a bit better. And I think I would like to darken a little bit this area, a little bit more. So let's use one more instance of exposure module real quick, this time with gradient mask. And I will also toggle the polarities so that we can darken that a bit more. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Now we have a clear focus on that meadow with horses. And I think we're done. Let's see how it looks in full screen. Yeah. That's cool. Okay. Before we go any further, I would like to say a few words about this photo, because I think it is a good example of one important aspect of the scene composition in the black and white photography. And as you can see, I lightened my main subject, the horses, on the meadow and darkened the background quite a lot. In the background you can see only very slightly the top of the trees. And there are two reasons for this. First, by darkening the background, we make the main subject clearer, in this case the horses. And secondly, and this is to my opinion much more important, this lack of details here awakens the imagination of the viewer. The fact that he can only see the top of the trees is enough to estimate the proportion of the scene. Everything else is left to his imagination. It fills the gaps of the background. And this is the one of the strengths of the black and white photography. This reduction to grayscale forces us to look at the scene from a different angle, and at the same time gives us the possibility to shape it in a such way that we guide the viewer with help of his own imaginations to the essentials. And I must say, this is a very nice exercise for composition in photography, because it forces us to recognize the essence of the scene and concentrate only to that. Okay, that's enough. And let's see what we can do with the next photo. Okay, this is our next photo, and we will use exposure module to bring the brightness a little bit up. And we have too much contrast here, so I will also use Filmic Look tab and remove a little bit of contrast, because I would like to add some kind of soft contrast similar to the last photo with diffuse and sharpen module. So I will use diffuse and sharpen module now, and we have that bloom preset with a lot of I will add a lot of blur with iterations, that we have the situation like here. And now we will multiply that and bring the exposure of the multiplication a little bit up. Let me turn on our overexposure indicator so that we can see how it looks now. Okay, I think we don't have to do too much here, because we don't have too much colors, so we can already start our conversion with new color calibration instance, and we don't need to go too much up because we don't want to change the colors there. I will bring that color calibration above diffuse and sharpen, above our soft contrast, and I think we can use also a red channel for conversion. I think I will darken a little bit blue and add the red channel in brightness tab, and I think, yeah, it looks nice. But I would like to bring the focus of the viewer to this area a little bit more. So I will use another exposure module with a drone mask. I will mark this area here, and we want to darken the rest, so we need to toggle polarity of the mask so that we have something like that, a little bit feathering. And now we can darken the rest, maybe that much. And what I would also like to do is to add a little bit local contrast here in this area, so we can use diffuse and sharpen one more instance, and this time bring it above color calibration. And I want to add a local contrast only on this main area, so I will use already used mask from exposure module, something like that. And or I need to first to add local contrast, and now we can use the mask. So because we don't need to sharpen everything else except that main area. So let me see how it looks like before and after here. I don't see too much difference. Let's enhance that a little bit. Okay, now I think I need to protect a little bit blacks here. Yeah, let me see one again. Yeah, that looks nice. Okay, let us see how it looks like. Yeah, I think we're done with this one. Full screen. Yeah, okay. Let's see what we can do with the next one. Okay, let's try this one. So again, we need some exposure here, and my photo is too much bluish, so I would like to white balance it a little bit. Okay, we can leave it there. And we have here two areas. One is this area here and the sky, which are important. So we'll concentrate on those two areas. And I think the first thing what I would like to do is to darken a little bit that upper half of the photo with a new instance of exposure module. So I will use a gradient mask for that. I don't know, maybe here. That is feathering. And darken the upper part. Now we can go back to the first exposure module and add a little bit exposure there. Now we have a little bit balanced the whole picture. And as next, I think I can add a little bit of contrast in filmic, and also lighten a little bit this one, this part. Okay, let's do that. I'm thinking, let's do that with tone equalizer, with simple tone curve and mask. Bring it a bit down here, somewhere here, and turn off mask indicator and go up with exposure. Let's see, maybe something like that. Yeah, and of course color balance RGB to be able to see what kind of that was the wrong one. But also to be able to see what kind of colors we have. Okay, and we add a lot of contrast, which is also good. And I think we are ready for conversion, so we will use another instance of color calibration and go above color balance. That was wrong combination. Okay, and I will use gray tab gray tab and a red channel for conversion. I think we can darken green and blue a little bit and add red there. Now I think we have a lot of noise here, so we need to denoise it also. Let's see. That looks good. And now we need a bit more contrast in the picture. So I think I will go back with exposure and duplicate that instance of tone equalizer which have been used for this mirror part. Let's do that and see how it looks like. Yeah, that looks quite nice now. And I will use one more instance of tone equalizer just to add a little bit contrast on here on the sky. So let's do that again with tone equalizer, and of course simple tone curve with mask. We don't want to do that everywhere, only in the sky, in the clouds. So let me disable mask indicator, and now let's go up with the contrast here. Something like that, I would say. And how it looks now. I think we can add just a bit more brightness in the mid part. So maybe one more exposure instance for that, just tiny bit. Also with a drone mask, like somewhere here. Let's see. Yeah, that looks nice now. That is how I like it. Now we have this well-lit area on that field here, and you think that we have some sun rays which are breaking down and lighten that area, and that looks quite nice to my taste. Let's see how it looks like with full screen. Yeah, I like it. Okay, the last one. This one is particularly interesting because we have here leaves with quite nice texture, and let's see how we can use colors to enhance this texture even more and convert it to the black and white. Okay, so let's get started with exposure. And I think we need a little bit more contrast. We can add that contrast with filmic RGB. If we are going to the look tab and add contrast there, I think we can get a nice contrast. Yeah, something like that. And also we can enhance it even more with color balance RGB. And for example, if I use perceptual saturation grading, I'm adding even more contrast. I would like to add even more colors so we can see the colors much better. And also by perceptual brilliance grading can also be useful for that adding of the contrast. And we have now quite nice photo. And let's see how it looks like if we convert it to the black and white. So we will use now next instance of color calibration module and bring it above color balance here and use, I don't know, I think I will use a red channel again, maybe a little bit of green, and darken a little bit of blue. So let's see. Let's go even further. Okay, it looks quite nice already. I think we can improve it a little bit by adding a bit more of local contrast. So let's use diffuse and sharpen module. I think I will go above everything and add a bit of local contrast. And we don't need to be too careful here because we have only black and white, so let's go a bit more. And I think that looks now quite impressive. Let's see. Okay, I think we need a bit more of the noising there. And we're done. Okay. One more look. And the full screen. Oh yeah, that's quite nice. Okay, before we are concluding this episode, I would like to address two questions that have been asked by Luciana Moyal in the comment section from the last episode. And first one is how to move the modules up and down. And I will highly suggest for everyone to watch this keyboard status monitor that I have here, because you can see what kind of shortcuts I'm using for some things. For example, if I want to remove a left panel, I can use Shift, Control and L key. You can see when I'm pressing Shift and Control, you can see it clearly in the keyboard status monitor, and if I press L, I can remove and bring it back the left panel. And for moving modules up and down, you can also use Shift and Control key, and by pressing the left mouse button you can move the modules up and down. You can see also in keyboard status monitor that my left mouse key is pressed behind Shift and Control, and now I can move it up and down. That was the first question. To be able to understand the second question, you need to understand the hierarchical order of modules in the Darktable. And hierarchical structure can be recognized in the second tab here, this one. That is the list of the active modules, and hierarchical structure goes from the bottom to the top. What that means is that result of some module which lies deeper in the hierarchy, for example here exposure, will be input for the next modules which are higher in the hierarchy. For example, if I add exposure here, every other module have to deal with that brightness now. As every other module, in our case color calibration, color balance and so on, have that brighter picture as input for processing. Okay, let's bring it back. And now, why is that important for the black and white photography? Because maybe I will add some zoom here to be able to see it clearly. And maybe I will rename my color calibration to black and white. To understand what is going on. Let's see what happens if I bring the color calibration before color balance. As you can see, the leaves have lost that contrast. What is happening here is color calibration black and white I have used for conversion in black and white, and now color balance RGB, which lies above color calibration in hierarchy, becomes only black and white version of the photo, as only the grayscale. So we cannot use color balance RGB. For example, we cannot use perceptual saturation grading to add the color contrast, which can be useful for the black and white conversion, because the color balance RGB now have only that black and white version of the photo. So therefore I bring that color calibration above color balance, and if I disable it, I can use color balance RGB for enhancing those colors. As you can see, I have enhanced those contrasts, and now we can use that for conversion into black and white. So that is why in some cases it's important to bring some other modules up and down in the hierarchy, but I would suggest not to do that if you don't know what are you doing. It's only important if you know what is going to happen to do that, but leave that hierarchical structure as it is. You can, if you make wrong moves, you can add some artifacts. You cannot destroy something, but you will add some artifacts or do something, and you maybe ask yourself what is going on. So do it only if you know what are you doing. Okay, I think that's enough for this episode. Let's bring our photo back. And if you have other questions, please be free to ask it in the comment section or go to the pixels.us. You have the address in the comment section and in the description of the video, and we will see us next time.